I'll start with part 3 of credit transactions. So here we will be talking about pledge, mortgage, and antiqueses. Again, these are considered as credit transactions because all of these three are accessory contract to a principal contract. Kaya nga ito po yung mga transactions in support of a credit. So first, we have here the provision which is common to pledge and mortgage. So makikita natin mamaya kung anong pinagkakaiba ng pledge and mortgage. But basically, a person pledges a thing or mortgages a thing to support the loan or the principal obligation. That is usually mangutang and then may pledge or sa tawag natin sa common parlance, may isasangla. So, kagaya nga niyan, typical, pumunta ka ng pawn shop, magsangla ka doon, that is pledge. But that is governed by a separate law, which we will learn later on. So here, pledge is a contract where the debtor delivers to the creditor or to a third person movable or an instrument evidencing incorporeal rights to secure the fulfillment of the principal obligation with the understanding that if the obligation is fulfilled, the thing delivered shall be returned along with the fruits and accessions. So yun po, pledge, ibig sabihin, ikaw po, mayroon kang principal obligation or there is a principal contract. And usually that is a contract of loan. And pledge, there is a security. Pledge is done when a person, the borrower, brings a property, either a movable or an instrument evidencing incorporeal right as security for the performance or fulfillment of the principal obligation. That when the principal obligation is done or paid, then ibabalik po yung bagay na pinledge along with the fruits and accession. So we have here under 8025, these are the essential requisites of pledge. So kailangan to secure the fulfillment of the principal obligation. Take note, unlike in deposit, sa deposit kasi, hindi kailangan na ang depositor ay may-ari ng bagay na dinideposit. In deposit, there is no requirement that the depositor will be or shall be the owner or is the owner of the property deposited. Pero dito po, pag magsangla ka, kailangan ikaw po ang absolute owner of the thing pledged or mortgage. Otherwise, sabi sa batas, pag nagsangla ka na hindi sa'yo, tatamaan ka sa revised penal code. That is under Article 315. Estafa po yun. Swindling. And number 3 here, have the free disposal of their property they be legally authorized for that purpose. So dito po, mayroon kang authority to dispose of that property or ikaw po ay legally authorized. So these are the 3 essential requisites of the pledge. Again, to secure the fulfillment of the obligation, the pledger or mortgager must be the absolute owner and have the free disposal of the property or legally authorized to do so. Then, Article 2087. It is also the essence of this contract that when the principal obligation becomes due, the things in which the pledge or mortgage consists may be alienated for the payment to the creditor. Ibig sabihin, di ba palagay natin, naghiram ka. How this operates? Nanghiram ka ng pera. Sabi ng hiniraman mo, oy, kailangan ko ng security. Mag-pledge ka, movable property or immovable property mortgage, and then para to secure the fulfillment of your obligation, that is to pay. Pag hindi ka nakabayad, takin po yung property na sinangla mo at ito po, ang sabi po dito, the pledger may be alienated for the payment to the creditor. So kukunin po niyan, ibibenta po yun at ang kita, yun po ang pambayad dun sa principal obligation. That is on pledge. Now, characteristics of pledge. So sabi natin, number 1, it is a real contract. Time and again, when we talk about real contract, it requires delivery. Unlike consensual contract, wherein it is perfected by mere giving of consent, Here, pledge is real. There could be no pledge if the thing is not delivered by the pledger to the pledgee. Pledger or pledger, ang nagsangla, ang sinanglaan, kung sa atin pa. Accessory contract because again, pledge depends upon the principal contract that is a contract of loan. Unilateral because there is only one obligation that is on the part of the creditor to return or on the part of the pledge, sinanglaan, to return the thing subject of the fulfillment of the principal obligation. So in other words, pag natapos na, bayad ka na, talagang ibalik sa'yo. Typical dun, sangla ka dyan sa Cebuana. Kailangan mo ng pera, sangla mo sing-sing ng binigay ng boyfriend mo. Boom. Pagkatapos nun dun sa kanya. Pero, pag nabayaran mo ng principal obligation, i-deliver back na yun sa'yo. Kaya lang, sabi natin mamaya, or sabi ko, later on, you would know na ang sangla po, pawn shop, is governed by a separate law. Central bank law po yan siya. Subsidiary contract, the obligation incurred does not arise until the fulfillment of the principal obligation, which is secured. When you talk about kinds of pledge, voluntary, pag voluntary or conventional agreement by the parties, legal, this is the operation of the law. Now, ito po, paulit-ulit natin. Essential requisites, sabi natin, we have first constituted to fulfill the principal obligation. Pledger or mortgager is the absolute owner. Pledger or mortgager has the free disposal of the property or has legal authority, and the thing pledged or mortgage may be alienated. Ma-dispose po yan siya para pambayad sa principal obligation. But take note of the last sentence. This is important. This is pactum commissorium, meaning to say the creditor does not automatically become the owner if at the time stipulated the obligation is still unfulfilled. Hihiram po ako kay Mr. A ng pera. Ngayon, may security po ako yung aking sasakyan. Okay? Sinangla ko, chattel mortgage because that is movable property. For example lang. Or lupa, immovable. Ngayon, hindi ko nabayaran. Ang mangyari is that ibibenta po yung lupa para pambayad sa utang ko sa creditor. But, sabi po dito, wala pong automatic transfer of ownership na kung saan if the mortgagor or the pledger cannot pay the principal amount or the principal obligation, automatic na po ang may-ari, ang pledge na or ang mortgage. Hindi po ganoon. Walang karapatan po ang creditor, ang hiniraman ng pera, na sa kanya na automatic ang sinanglang property pag hindi nakabayad ang nagsangla. Yun yung ibig sabihin. Ibibenta po yan siya sa auction, and then kung ano man yung proceeds, i-apply po dun sa principal obligation plus interest. Now, anong pinagkakaiba ng pledge at mortgage? Okay? Parehas yan sila. Sabi natin, to secure the fulfillment of the principal obligation. Okay? So we have here, subject matter. Pledge is constituted on movable. Okay? Mortgage on immovable, but it could be movable also. Ang tawag noon is chattel mortgage. Delivery is in pledge, the property is delivered to the pledgee or to a third person upon common agreement. Whereas in mortgage, delivery is not necessary. Kagaya niyan, hihiram ka ng pera sa bangko. Sabi ng bangko, kailangan namin ng collateral. Anong collateral mo? Bahay. I-execute ka ngayon ng real estate mortgage or real mortgage. Ngayon, kukunin ba ng bangko ang bahay mo? Or kukunin ba ng bangko ang kotse mo? Sila gagamit? Sabi, hindi. Because in mortgage, delivery of the subject matter of mortgage, in our example, lupa or bahay, hindi yan kailangan i-deliver. You will still continue to possess and own the property being mortgaged. Ang i-deliver mo lang doon is proof of ownership, usually certificate of title or certificate of registration if it is a car. But sa pledge po, kailangan talagang i-deliver ng pledge ang item na pledge. Validity of third persons, pledge is not valid until there is a description of the thing pledged and the date of pledge which appear on a public instrument. So yung sangla pala, hindi yan valid sa third person kung ang dokumento is not in a public instrument and there is a description of the thing pledged. Kagaya yung item, for example, cellphone. In order for that pledge to be effective against third person, the pledge must indicate there the item being pledged and it must be in a public instrument. Mortgage, ganun din po. It must be registered with the Register of Deeds in order to effectively affect third person. Na-discuss nyo yan sa obligation and contracts. Mayroong isang tao, okay, nanghiram siya ng pera. Paghiram niya ng pera, ni-require siya magsangla. Ako po ito, hiram po ako ng pera kay B. Sabi ni B, attorney, kailangan ko ng collateral. Sangla. Okay, anong gusto mong isangla ko? For example, TV. Okay, payag po ako. Ngayon, in order for that sangla, that mortgage, to be effective against third person, dapat i-register niya yan sa Registry of Deeds kung lupa man yan or immovable. Otherwise, it will not affect third person. Anong example yan? Like, ang sinangla ko pala lupa, hindi niya ni-register sa Register of Deeds. Bininta ko ang lupa sa third person kay C. Ngayon, nang nalaman ni B, hinabol niya si C. Habol niya. Sabi niya, oy, nakasangla yan sa akin, bakit mo yan binili? Eh, wala akong alam nun kasi hindi naman ito nakarestro. Sabi ni si, bayaran mo ako ngayon ng sangla ko dyan. Kung hindi, takin ko yan. Is B correct? The answer is wrong. The answer is no. B is wrong because, again, the mortgage is not registered. The mortgage between me and B is not registered with the Registry of Deeds. In such case, it will not bind third persons. Okay. Kung na-register po yon, then walang pakialam ang mortgagee. Kung saan yung property, kahit ilang transfer na yan, susundin po yan siya because the mortgage follows the property, not the owner. Continue. Yan. Right of the creditor to appropriate the thing. Ito yung sabi ko kanina, pactum commissorium. Pactum commissorium. So here, right of creditor to appropriate the thing pledged or mortgage. The creditor cannot appropriate the things given by way of pledge or mortgage or dispose of them. Ibig sabihin, pag appropriate, kukunin niya, angkinin niya. Hindi ka nakabayad ng principal loan mo, akin ang washing machine na to or akin na yung lupa na to. Hindi ganon ang mortgage or ang pledge. If the debtor fails to comply with the obligation at the time it falls due, the creditor is simply given that right to move for the sale. Meaning to say, hahatakin at ibibinta ang sinangla. Okay, yun po ang ibig sabihin nito. And then, ang kita i-apply sa utang at ang sobra ibibigay dun sa the owner of that property. Creditor cannot appropriate to himself the thing held as pledged. Okay, yun po yung sabi po dito. And it also applies to antichrisis. Na-discuss natin yung antichrisis mamaya. Ito po yung opportunity, sinangla mo ang pag-harvest sa fruit sa iyong lupa. Pactum commissorium. Yun yung tawag ito, pactum commissorium, automatic ownership or appropriation by the creditor of the thing pledged or mortgage because the debtor did not or was not able to pay the obligation. So walang ganun. Pactum commissorium is null and void. Kahit pa mayroong stipulation, sasangla ka ng bagay, tapos nakalagay dun sa sangla na pag hindi ka nakabayad, ako, automatic, naging sa akin na yan. Pumirma ka. That contract still valid, but on the mortgage is still valid, but the stipulation that the creditor or the mortgagee will automatically own the property if the mortgagee, or rather, the mortgagor or the debtor fails to pay is null and void. Yun po ang sabi dito sa pactum commissorium. Now, pledge or mortgage is indivisible even if the obligation is joint. Hindi mahahati yan siya even if the obligation is joint. A pledge or mortgage is indivisible even though the debt may be divided among the successors in interest of the debtor or the creditor. Anong nangyari dito? Pag sinabi natin successors in interest, malamang namatay ang debtor or namatay ang creditor. Okay? Namatay ang debtor or namatay ang creditor. And therefore, ang sangla ay tutubusin na ng anak ng debtor na matay or sisingili na ng anak ng creditor na namatay. Ang sabi dito, therefore, the debtor's heir who has paid a part of the debt cannot ask for the proportionate extinguishment of the pledge or mortgage as long as the debt is not completely satisfied. Makikita natin ito mamaya sa example, pero ang sabi lang dito na, what if for example, ganito po ang utang. Tapos namatay na ang nagsangla. Tapos may dalawa siyang anak. Dalawang items po ang kanyang sinangla para sa buong utang. Pwede ba yung isang anak, tutubusin niya doon, babayaran niya kalahati at kukunin niya yung isang item? For example, watch o saka, anong isa? Necklace. Watch at necklace. May utang, ako po, nangutang po ako, and then kailangan ko magsangla or mag-pledge. Sabi ko, okay, wala, hindi aabot yung pera ko dyan, ang property ko. So isangla ko to yung aking relos at saka yung aking necklace. Okay, so yun na. Pumayag na ngayon. So naghiram na ako ng 100,000. Namatay ako. Mayroon po akong dalawang anak, si A at saka si B. Interesado talaga si A sa relos. So nilapitan niya yung creditor. Sabi niya, oh, bayad ako ng 50,000, kukunin ko yung watch. Yan. Or isa naman, babayad ako ng 50,000 ko. Ang sabi po dito, hanggat hindi pa bayad, okay, ang buong obligation, not completely satisfied. Anong sabi po dito? The debtor's heir who has paid only a part of the debt cannot ask for the proportionate extinguishment of the pledge or mortgage. So hindi po partial extinguishment, kukunin lang po yung watch or kukunin lang po yung necklace. Although later on, may exception dun. Kung talagang sa pagsangla pa lang na malinaw na ang watch is only for this amount and the necklace is for this amount. Otherwise, kung wala po yung buo, ito po, para sa 100,000, wala pong ganyang mangyari. Okay. Now, right of creditor to appropriate the thing pledged or mortgage. The creditor cannot appropriate. Now, we have here the indivisibility of the pledge or mortgage is not affected by the fact that the debtors are not solidarily liable. So pag hindi sila solidarily liable, the opposite of solidary is joint. So here, ang sabi, ang pledge, alam natin ang pledge at mortgage, indivisible po yan siya. It is not affected by the fact that the debtors are jointly liable. Kagaya po nito. Okay. Si D, nanghiram siya ng 20,000 kay C. Okay? Ito yung example ko kanina. D borrowed from C 20,000 and to guarantee payment of what? 20,000. D pledged the thing worth 15,000 and a pair of earrings worth 15,000. Pero maliwanag dito guys na hindi sinabi na kalahati dito para dito. Kung sinabi sana dito 15,000 to represent 10,000 of the 20,000, pwede niyang hatakin separately. Or ang earrings 15,000, nag-secure siya sa 10,000, then pwede hatakin. Pero kung titingnan niyo yung facts, nanghiram lang ng 20,000 at sinangla po yung ring at ang earrings sa 20,000 kahit na 15,000 ang value, 15,000 ang value. Okay. Now, if D pays 15,000, okay, D borrowed from C 20,000 And take note, kahit dalawa yung kanyang sinangla, hindi kasi sinabi dito na yung pair of earrings 10,000, ang ring 10,000, basta 20,000 lahat. Okay? So ang namang effect nun, if D pays 15,000, he cannot ask for the return of the ring because both the ring and the earrings are given to secure payment of the entire obligation of 20,000. Ngayon, the same is true if D dies, namatay si D, tapos may dalawa siyang anak, si W at saka si X. Ngayon, nag-usap si W saka si X, wala na si Papa. Oo nga eh, so ano, mamili ka dun sa sinangla niya, earrings ba sa'yo or ring? Sabi niya, ano, ito po yung sa akin. Ang mangyari, kahit nag-usap na yan sila, ang ring mapunta kay W or ang earrings mapunta kay X, hindi po pwede na 15,000 lang ang babayaran para makuha po ang isang item. Because, anong sabi? Indivisible pa rin ang pledge or mortgage and it is not affected by the fact that debtors are not solidarily liable or are jointly liable. Now, but if it was agreed that the ring was given to secure the payment of 15,000 and the earrings, the balance of 5,000, then pwede po yun. Yun yung sinasabi ko kanina na pwede po yun kung maliwanag from the start that the item 1 and item 2 is only for a certain amount. But if it is not declared, it is not stipulated, then the entire obligation must be paid before the two items could be released. Okay, yan po yun. Okay, ganun din po dito. A and B are jointly liable to C in the amount of 20,000 secured by A's ring worth 15,000 and B's watch worth 5,000. If A pays 15,000, still he could not demand the return. Kasi nga, ang sabi po dito, hindi na-identify na ano po yan, kung saan siya ba pupunta. So I think that's clear. Okay. Take note under 2091, all kinds of obligations can be secured by pledge or mortgage. So lahat ng obligation daw to pay, lahat po yan, pwede siya ma-secure. Meaning to say, there is a security for the performance or payment of an obligation. Promise to constitute pledge or mortgage does not create a real right. Basta promise po, hindi po yan siya mag-create ng real right. Kasi ang real right po, alam natin sa obligation in contract, this is a right that could be asserted against the whole world. Whereas if it is only a promise, this is a personal right addressed only to a specific person who promised. For example, nag-promise po ako sa iyo to constitute pledge or mortgage. Pag promise lang yan, wala po yun. Wala kang real right, but only personal action to require me. Attorney, sana yung promise mo, sabi mo magsangla ka para sa ganito, ganyan. Yun ang ibig sabihin ng 2092. A promise to constitute a pledge or mortgage gives rise only to a personal action between the contracting parties. So, ako at ikaw, without prejudice to criminal liability of someone who defrauds another by offering and pledge a mortgage as unencumbered, which he know na mayroon siyang burden representing another thing. Anong ibig sabihin sa last paragraph dito? Kung magsangla ka, or, sorry for the word, sangla na lang gamitin natin, but we are referring to pledge and mortgage, no? Pag nagsangla ka ng gamit, sabi natin, ikaw talaga ang may-ari. At saka, pag sinabi mo na unencumbered yan, walang lien, wala pong naka-attach na encumbrance, at yun pala mayroon, at dahil dyan, hindi mo matupad ang promise mo, then may personal action sa iyo ang taong with whom you promise. Maliban doon, pwede kang makasuhan kriminal because again of misrepresentation. Ibig sabihin, pag nagsangla ka, hiram ka ng pera, sinangla mo to, sabi mo sa akin, clean po yung title niyan, wala pong encumbrance yan, wala, hindi yan nakasangla o hindi nakaprenda, o bayad na yun. Naniwala naman ako, pero yun pala hindi. Anong mangyari? Maliban sa personal action, pwede kang makasuhan ng estafa. Yan. Committed by a person pretending to be the owner of the real property shall convey, encumber, mortgage, etc., knowing that that property is encumbered. Okay? Yun po yung sabi niya, tapos papalabas niya na unencumbered po. These are the things about pledge. No? So kanina, if you notice, those are provisions common to pledge and mortgage. Dito naman, sa pledge lang talaga. Okay, so application. Provisions applicable only to pledge. So by the word itself, by the statement, para sa pledge lang po ito. Transfer of possession essential in pledge. We're talking here of possession. Anong ibig sabihin dito? Walang pledge kung hindi ibigay ng taong nagpi-pledge ang gamit or ang bagay dun sa pinagsanglaan niya. Okay, sabi po dito, in order to constitute the contract of pledge, the thing pledged be placed in the possession of the creditor or of a third person by common agreement. So, ang inutangan mo, ni-require ka magsangla ng bagay para security na bayaran mo. Kasi nga, sabi natin, pag hindi mo nababayaran yan, bro, anong mangyari? Then, ang sinangla mo, hindi yan mapunta sa kanya, but ibibintayan siya. Although, sabi natin kanina, yung sa pawn shop is ano po yun, also it is a pledge, but it is covered by a special law, kasi sa central bank yan sila. Pero ganun din po ang operation nun, di ba? Tingnan mo sa pawn shop, pag hindi mo na nabayaran, magiging ano na ba yan? Maging may-ari ng Cebuana? Hindi. Mayroon silang rematado sale, di ba? Sa mga hilig sa alahas, alam niyo yun. Rematado, mag-auction po yan sila doon sa mga hindi natubos na mga property or item pledge. So, kailangan, under this 2019, under 2093, transfer of possession is essential. Take note, possession here must be actual. Transfer of actual possession of the property pledge. Kagaya nito, sabi natin pledge. We're still talking that there must be a transfer of possession in pledge, and the possession there must be actual. Actual, talagang actual. Alam naman natin yung mga delivery, di ba? Maraming klaseng delivery. Dapat actual talaga ang pag-deliver para may actual possession of the property. Where the animal pledged by A to B were actually in possession of C, and nothing was stated in the contract that C was by common consent made the depositary of B, who never took possession of that animal, it is not pledged. Sabi nga natin, kailangan talaga, could you imagine, animal yung may mga ganun palang instances, mangutang ka, tapos ang collateral mo, ang pet mo, sama naman. But ito yung sample, animal, no? Hindi naman necessarily pet, pero kahit na. But again, sabi po dito, there must be actual possession of the thing being pledged. Subject matter of the pledge, we have all movables which are within the commerce of man may be pledged. Lahat po yan siya. And corporeal rights, evidence by negotiable instrument, bill of ladings, receipts may also be pledged. So ito po yung subject matter. Pwede movables or pwede negotiable instruments. Pwede yan sila mag-pledge. Now, public instrument, as I mentioned kanina, necessary to bind third person. A pledge shall not take effect against third person if, anong kailangan? Dalawa po yun. Description of the thing pledged and the date of pledge must be in a public instrument. Kaya nga pag magsangla ka, kung isangla mo yan sa akin, kailangan gagawa po akong dokumento na ito po yung pledge. Na ito po yung property na pledge mo at saka kailan. When I was in Bacolod, I was a lawyer of one pawn shop there. And then, what I made para mabilis, mayroon akong proforma form. Proforma na yan siya, tapos nandun nalagad. Tapos blank, residence blank, borrowed the amount of, and pledges the following item. Nakalagay yung description at date. Para pagsangla, sulat na lang doon at notaryuhan ko lang. Because this is to bind third person. Bakit? Malay mo yung property pala nun. Yung property. Although alam naman natin na supposedly sa kanya, pero this is protection against third person. Baka may ibang naghabol sa kanya, may utang din. So, since the pledge is in a public instrument, and again, there is a description of the thing pledged plus the date it was pledged, then it binds third person. Hindi basta-basta mahatak. Alienation by the pledger of the thing pledged. With the consent of the pledgee, sino yung pledgee? Sinong pledgee? Ang sinanglaan. Si Buwana, for example. With the consent of the pledgee, the thing pledged may be alienated by the pledger or owner subject to the pledge. The ownership of the thing pledged is transmitted to the vendee or transferee as soon as the pledgee consents to the alienation, but the latter shall continue in possession. Anong ibig sabihin nun? Nangutang ka, si A, nangutang kay B. Sabi ni B, kailangan ko ng collateral. Okay, so anong collateral mo? Sing-sing na may diamonds. Okay, sabi sa pledge, dalhin mo yan sa akin because actual delivery and possession of the thing pledge is necessary. So dinala ni A ang sing-sing niya na may diamond kay B, ngayon pinahiram na siya ng pera. Anong application ng 2097? Nagipit ulit si A. Tapos sabi niya, ibinta ko yung aking diamond kay C. Okay? Anong mangyari? Sabi po dito, pwede ba yun? Pwede. Alienation, ang pagbinta, pwede po yun. Ikaw yung may-ari because again, sa pledge at saka sa mortgage, wala pong transfer of ownership. Ikaw pa rin po yung may-ari. And since ikaw yung may-ari, pwede mo yan ibinta. Pero anong requirement? Sabi dito, magpaalam ka. Pupunta ka kay BB, kailangan kong ibinta talaga yung sinangla ko sa'yo kasi kailangan ko ng pera, bla 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 bla. Pag pumayag si sinanglaan mo, then that's okay, and then pwedeng mabinta. But anong sabi po dito? Ang property, in our example, ang sing-sing na may diamond shall continue to be in the possession of the pledgee. Nandun pa rin sa sinanglaan mo, pero ang may-ari si Sina. So therefore, si Sina ang tutubos mo. Okay? That is on 2097. Alienation by the owner or pledger of the thing pledged is possible for as long as there is a consent of the pledgee. The new owner now, yung pinagbintahan, will be subject to the pledge. Meaning to say, siya po ang mag-observe kung kailan tutubusin, kailan babayaran ang principal obligation, and finally, the thing pledge will be in the possession still of the pledgee. Hindi porket ikaw na yung may-ari, pupunta ka na doon, nabili ko na to, akin na to. Hindi. That is still subject to the condition of the pledge. Right of the pledge to retain the thing pledged. The contract of pledge gives right to the creditor, yung hiniraman mo ng pera, to retain the thing in possession or that of a third person to whom it has been delivered until the debt is paid. So, kailangan talaga mabayaran ang obligation before mo makuha ang thing pledge. D owes C 10,000. As a security, D pledges diamond ring. Later, D borrowed again 4,000. Magkano na yung utang niya? 14,000. Si D, nangutang siya kay C 10,000. Ngayon, sabi ni C, sandali, kailangan ko ng security. Ito po, mayroon po akong sing-sing. Okay, tuloy na. After a while, bumalik siya. Pwede ba padagdag ng 4,000? Okay. Pero ano maging effect nun? C has the right to retain the ring only until the 10,000 is paid. Pag nabayaran na yung 10,000, kailangan or si D pwede na mag-demand pag-return ng ring kahit hindi pa bayad ang remaining 4,000. C cannot retain the thing until he has been paid the remaining debt of 4,000. Kasi yung 4,000, hindi naman yan siyang unang usapan nila sa pagsangla. C's right of retention is limited to the payment of 10,000 for which the ring was pledged. Obligation of the pledge to take care of that thing. This is self-explanatory because again, sabi natin, if you are in a possession of the thing, you have to take care of it as a good father of the family. So due diligence. A person is considered neglectful if he fails to observe the diligence required under the law. So yun po sabi dito, kung ikaw po yung creditor, ikaw po yung pinagsanglaan, nandun sa'yo yung sing-sing, o kung ano man yun, kailangan you have to exercise diligence. Okay? And you have the right to be reimbursed for the expenses of the preservation. In case of loss or deterioration of the thing pledged due to fortuitous event, the pledgee cannot be held liable. Alam na natin po yun. Unless there is fraud, negligence, delay. This is similar to the provision in civil code and in obligation in contracts na a person is free from his liability if the thing is lost or destroyed through fortuitous event, except if there is a presence of the following, such as fraud, negligence, delay, or violation of contract. In those cases, still, kahit pa ang rason ng pagkasira ng gamit na sinangla ay fortuitous event, the pledgee would still be liable. Now, obligation of the pledgee not to deposit the thing pledged with another. Kagaya din sa deposit. Pag diniposito ko sa iyo yung aking gamit, may bayad man yan o wala kang karapatan na ilipat po yan siya, na i-deposit mo sa ibang tao pag walang consent ng depositor. And the same way that the pledgee cannot deposit the thing pledged to a third person unless there is an authority based on the stipulation or agreement. Hindi po yan pwede. The pledgee is responsible for the acts of his agents, employees, respondeat superior. The pledgee has the same responsibility as the bailor in comodato. So, yun po yung obligation niya. Hindi mo pwedeng basta sa'yo sinangla tapos ibalik mo sa iba. The pledging to compensate earnings of pledged with debt. Dito tayo sa example. D borrowed from C 1,000 at 12% interest with certificates of stocks as security. The interest is payable 6 months after the execution of the contract. If the stocks earn dividends, the same shall also subject to the pledge if there is no stipulation to the contrary. C shall apply the dividends to the interest if owing him after 6 months. If none, apply that to the principal. So ito po yung nag-pledge ka, especially kung piniledge mo ay mga incorporeal rights that would earn interest. Ang sabi po dito, similar to deposit, the pledgee has the right to collect. Pag nakolektan yung ang pera na yun, that could also be subject to the pledge. Tapos kung walang usapan, i-apply po yun sa interest and sa principal ng principal amount na pagkakaunan. Okay, so what else? Right of pledgee against third person. Unless the thing pledged is expropriated, the debtor continues to be the owner thereof. Ibig sabihin, wala po. Ang sabi dito, kung hindi lang yan, what is expropriated? Nakuha ng gobyerno, lahat-lahat po yan. Kung wala man yan, nandun pa rin yan siya sa possession ng pledgee, pero ang pledger pa din ang mananatiling owner ng property niya. Okay. So we have here obligation of the pledgee not to use it. This is common. Kagaya din po sa deposit. Pag dineposito sa iyo yung gamit, hindi mo pwedeng gamitin. Pag ikaw naman sinanglaan, gagamitin mo ba yun? The creditor cannot use the thing pledged without the authority of the owner. Obviously, kahit pa, if he should do so or misuse the thing, then the owner may ask that it may be judicially or extrajudicially deposit. So, diniposito ko sa'yo, voluntary. Ngayon, nalaman ko, nag-post ka sa Facebook, suot-suot ng anak mo, o suot-suot mo yung mga alahas, bawal po yun, wala kang paalam. So, therefore, pwede kitang kasuhan and then, pwede mong sabihin na i-deposit yan siya sa iba. But when the preservation of the thing requires its use, it may be used, but only for that purpose. So, yun lang po yun. Hindi po pwede na kagaya niyan. Sasakyan, sinangla ko. Nanghiram ako sa iyo ng pera. Sabi mo, attorney, kailangan ko ng security dito. Sangla ko sa iyo yung sasakyan. Hindi mo pwede gamitin yung sasakyan na yan. Kasi nga, unless meron kang paalam. Pero, pwede mo papaanda rin or minsan paikutin mo. That is for the purpose of preservation of the thing. Masisira yun pag hindi nakaandar, masisira yung mga gulong nun pag hindi nakakaikot, etc. etc. Right of debtor to demand return of the thing pledged. The debtor cannot ask for the return of the thing pledged against the will of the creditor unless and until he has paid the debt with interest. Very obvious. Bakit mo mag-demand ka na ibalik na sa'yo yung sinangla mo na hindi ka pabayad? Pero pag binigay sa'yo, okay lang. But against the will of the debtor, you cannot impose upon the creditor the return of the thing pledged until you have fully paid your debt and interest. The right of the pledger to ask for the deposit of the thing pledged. If through the negligence or willful act of the pledgee, the thing pledged is in danger of being lost or impaired, the pledger may require that it be deposited with a third person. So dito po ang nangyari, may sinangla kang property. Dahil nga may utang ka. Okay, nangutang ka, ni-require ka magsangla ng property, mag-pledge. Ngayon, because of the neglect or willful act of the pledgee, there is a danger na masira o mawala po yung property na sinangla mo. Then, under Article 2106, you may require that a third person will now be the depositary of that thing pledged. Pwede ka bang mag-substitute ng pledge? Nagsangla ka na ngayon, tapos pwede mo bang palitan? Naghiram ka ng pera, sinangla mo yung watch mo, and then eventually, naisip mo na, pwede ko bang palitan na lang ito ng necklace? Yan. Ano po, pwede ba yan? The right of the pledger to substitute the thing pledged. If there are reasonable grounds to fear the destruction or impairment of the thing pledged, without the fault of the pledgee, the pledger may demand the return of the thing upon offering another thing in pledge, provided that the latter is of the same kind as of the former, or if not inferior quality, and without prejudice to the right of the pledgee under the next article. So, pwede, no? Pwede mong palitan ang bagay na naging collateral sa utang mo na nasangla mo. If you have the reasonable ground to fear na baka masira po yan siya, etc. Pero ang condition doon is that dapat ang ipalit mo is, again, offering another thing in pledge is of the same kind as of the former, not of inferior quality. So kung alahas yan siya, parehas-parehas sila, and then of that of the same quality. Now, right of pledgee to cause sale of the thing pledged. So ito na. If without the fault of the pledgee, there is a danger of destruction. Ito po, hindi pa natapos ang hindi pa natapos ang obligation to pay. Kanina kasi, tapos na obligation to pay, hindi mo nabayaran, then ibibintayan siya for auction. Dito, wala pa. Hindi pa due and demandable ang obligation, ngunit there is a danger that the thing pledged may be destroyed, impaired, or lessened in value. So, anong mangyari? Pledge to cause, dito po sinabi ko na dito mang obligasyon hindi pa tapos. The obligation to pay is not yet due and demandable, yet under 2108, the pledge has the right to sell the thing if wala siyang fault and there is a danger that the thing pledged could be destroyed, impaired, or again, would be lessened in value. Pwede yun siya i-auction. The proceeds of the auction shall be security for the principal obligation, as if siya na po ang pledge. So nakikita niya na nag-deteriorate na yung thing, lahat-lahat. Ang mangyari, ipapa-auction niya na yan. Ang proceeds would answer for the obligation of the pledgor to pay the principal debt. Now, the pledgee to demand substitute for immediate payment. Pledgee. Dito naman, pledgee. If the creditor is deceived on the substance or quality of the thing pledged, he may either claim another thing in its stead or demand immediate payment of the principal obligation. Dito, naloko siya, no? Naloko. Kaya nga sa Cebuana, pamagsangla ka, minsan nakakainis, no? Talagang, estudyante ako dati, nagsasangla-sangla ako eh. Kasi nga, papadala, matagal yung alawan, sabi pa, prinda, magkaskas yung Cebuana, talagang, ala, ma'am, tama na po. Tapos titingnan mo, marami ng mga gold dust yun, no? Ipunin pala nila yun, no? So, yun. So, kaya nga, tinitest nila. Kasi pag nagsangla ka pala, again, pag sinabi natin sangla, pledge to ha, sabihin ko lang kasi para mabilis, and then, ang sangla, nandyan lang yan siya kasi may principal contract of loan. So, dito, ang security mo na pledge, deceive on substance or quality. Kasi po, pag magsangla ka ng property, or mangutang ka ng property, kadalasan, mas mataas ang value, no? Ng sinangla mo, di ba? Para at least siguraduhin na tutubusin mo talaga. So, ganun po yun. So, if the pledge is deceived, ang substance or quality is inferior, sabi mo ganito, then you may claim another rate. Ay, dagdagan mo to, or hindi po, tawagin mo siya. Another thing would be pledge to replace that inferior thing, or immediately demand the payment of the obligation. When the thing pledged is returned, then that is an indication that the pledge is already extinguished. If the thing pledged is returned by the pledgee to the pledgor or owner, the pledge is extinguished. Any stipulation to the contrary shall be void. The moment na binalik po yung possession ng bagay na yan na sinangla, there is an indication that the pledge is already, or the principal obligation is already paid. We have here, if subsequent to the perfection of the pledge, so tapos na yung pledge, no, na perfected na, the thing is in the possession of the pledgor or owner, so nagsanglaan. After ng sangla, ang sinangla, nakita na dun sa possession ng pledgor or owner. There is a prima facie presumption that the thing has been returned by the pledgee. Again, presumption lang yan. Meaning to say, it could be rebutted by another evidence. Pero pag voluntary evidence presented, then there is a presumption na dineliver talaga ng pledgee yun. Baka naman kasi kinuha lang, ninakaw lang, iba naman po yun. The same presumption exists if the thing pledged is in the possession of a third person who has received it from the pledgor or owner. So bottom line here is that pag nagsangla ka, sabi natin, ang sangla, ang property na sinangla, nandun talaga yun siya sa pledgee. Nandun yan siya sa pledgee, and then, if there is a showing na nabalik na yan siya sa pledgor, then ang indication nun is that the pledge is extinguished because the principal obligation has been paid. Extinguishment of pledge by renunciation or abandonment. A statement in writing by the pledgee that he renounces or abandons the pledge is sufficient to extinguish the pledge. For this purpose, neither the acceptance by the pledgor or owner nor the return of the pledge is necessary. The pledgee becomes a depositary. So, hindi na kailangan pang ibalik. No? So, kung ako po, sinanglaan mo, naghiram ka sa akin ng pera, tapos una, wala akong tiwala sa'yo, so kailangan mo magsangla. Hindi kita kilala eh. Okay, sangla ka muna ng sing-sing. Ngayon, eventually, kilala na kita, or naisip ko na, wag na lang. So, nirenounce ko na yung pledge. Okay? Statement, kailangan ko magsulat in writing that I am renouncing the pledge, or, again, abandons the pledge. In this case, the pledge is extinguished. Hindi na kailangan na kailangan pa talaga ibalik ko. In the meantime, ibig sabihin, pag sinabi ko lang and then put that in writing, the pledge is extinguished. There is no requirement that the extinguishment of the pledge must be on the time or at the time that you have received the item being pledged. Hindi po. Kahit wala pa, kahit nasa akin pa, I could become a depositary. Yan po ang sabi dito. Right of the pledgee to cause the sale of the thing. Formalities, the debt. Ito po yun. Summarize po tayo. Formalities, the debt is due and unpaid. Nangutang ka nga eh. Tapos nagsangla ka. Ngayon, debt is due and unpaid. The sale must be at auction. Notice to the pledger and the owner stating the amount due, and the sale must be made in an intervention of a notary public, again, to bind third person. Ito yung sinusunod kadalasan ng mga sanglaan, no? Po yan sila. May notice yan. Kasi ikaw, i-notify ka. Pwede ka rin mag-bid. Di ba? Ganon po ang mangyari. Okay? So that is on the right of the pledgee to cause the sale of the thing pledged. Now, the right of the pledger and the pledgee to bid at public sale. So sabi po dito, at public auction, the pledger or owner may bid. Okay? Napamahal na sa kanya yung sing-sing, malay mo, nakaligtaan niya lang, hindi niya lang natubos. So ngayon, di ba ganun po yun, pag magsangla ka sa Cebuana or whatever, tatawagan ka na, rematado sale, di ba? Nandun na naka-display yung sinangla, ang tawag nito, alahas mo, so pwede ka rin mag-bid. Okay? So yun po ang sabi dito, that you are the pledger, you have the right to bid. Even the pledgee also. All bids at the auction shall offer to pay the purchase price at once. If any other bid is accepted, the pledgee is deemed to have received the purchase price, and as for the pledger, the owner is concerned. Effect of the sale of the thing. Ito yung summary natin. No entitlement to the excess by the debtor unless there is an agreement to the contrary. No recovery of deficiency by the creditor to compel the creditor to hold an honest public sale. So unlike sa mortgage dito, iba. Sabi dito, the sale of the thing pledged shall extinguish the principal obligation regardless whether or not the proceeds of the sale are equal to the amount of the principal obligation interest in the proper case. If the price of the sale is more than the amount, the debtor, ang nagsangla, shall not be entitled to the excess unless there is an agreement. If the price is less, in the same manner, ang ang sinanglaan or creditor, wala na pong karapatan to recover the deficiency, notwithstanding any stipulation. So tingnan nyo yung pagkakaiba. Dito, ang sabi natin, ito po ang epekto ng sale. Pag nag-sale na sa auction, tapos na po ang pledge, wala nang obligation. Okay. Ngayon, what if sobra po ang price? Mas mataas po ang nag-bid. No? Mas malaki yung bid kaysa obligation mo na bayaran. Ang sabi po dito, pag gano'n ang mangyari, wala kang karapatan if you are the debtor to get the excess except sa simula pa lang ng pledge, may napag-usapan na kung i-auction yan siya at may excess, ang excess mapunta sa pledger or sa naghiram. Pero iba po yung rule dito. Pag kulang, kahit mayroon pa kayong agreement, hindi talaga po pwede. In other words, pag nag-auction, ngayon ang bid is lower than the principal obligation of the pledger debtor, walang karapatan ang pledgee or ang creditor na bulin ang pledger or ang borrower or ang debtor sa deficiency. Obligation of pledgee to advise the pledger or owner of the result of the sale. So although kadalasan pag may sale dito, pumupunta naman talaga yung pledger. Puntahan mo doon, last look mo na yan sa alahas mo or last look mo na yan sa property sinangla mo. So after the public auction, the pledgee shall promptly advise the pledger or owner thereof. So sabihin niya, uy, naku, pasensya na, kulang talaga yun, mababa, so wala ka na makuha. O, sobra po, depende, okay? That is the 21:16. Right of third person to satisfy. Any third person who has any right in or to the thing pledged may satisfy the principal obligation as soon as the latter becomes due and demandable. Kaya nga kung makikita mo sa pawn shop, may nagbibenta ng anong tawag nun? Benta ng pawn shop ticket, pawn shop resibo, di ba? Kasi hindi naman kailangan na ikaw talaga yung may-ari pa magtubos. Pag may interest ka lang. Alteas, ano yung singsing mo? Na-prenda ko, Dad. Ha? Saan? Kailan mo due yan? Bukas, may pera. Wala! Oh, pwede niyang itubusin. Okay, ganon po yan. So, consider ako third person. Any third person who has the right to the thing pledged may satisfy by payment of the principal obligation. Hindi kailangan na Hindi, kaya nga yung sabi ko, yung iba na, uy, hindi ko na tumatubos, di ba? Punta ka ng Cubao. Bumibili ng, anong tawag nun? Bumibili ng resibo de pawn shop. Anong tawag nun? Papel de ahensya. Yan. Bumibili ng papel de ahensya. Yan. Kasi ibig sabihin, hindi mo na matubos yun. So sila niyang bibili. Yan. Ngayon, mag-usap na kayo. O, paano ba to? Ganyan, ganyan, ganyan. Okay? So because again, sabi po dito, 21:17, hindi kailangan na ikaw talaga ang may ari. Okay. Lapit na po tayo. Pledges right to collect and receive the amount due on credit. If the credit which has been pledged becomes due before it is redeemed, the pledgee may collect and receive the amount due. He shall apply the same to the payment of his claim and deliver the surplus thereof of any. So pledges right to collect and receive the amount due on credit pledge. Pledges right to choose which one of the several things be pledged. Sino may option dito? Ang pledgee. If two or more things are pledged, the pledgee may choose which he will choose to be sold unless there is a stipulation to the contrary. So, for example, mayroong obligation and then alam natin mas malaki ang value ng sinasangla kaysa utang. So, minsan, isang pagbenta pala ng property, bayad na. So, ang option doon dito sa pledgee, he has the right to choose which of the several things pledged will be sold. The right of a third person who pledges his own property. If a third party secures an obligation by pledging, okay, we will skip that one. Wala na tayo dyan. Rules as to pawn shop and other establishments. Itong sabi ko, kaya nga sa pawn shop, pledge din yan sila. Ganun typically ang procedure sa pagsangla. Kaya lang, may public interest yan sila. Govern yan sila ng ibang laws, no? With regard to pawn shop and other establishments which are engaged in making loans secured by pledges, special laws and regulations concerned shall be observed. Subsidiary lang po ang application kasi govern yan sila ng central bank laws, di ba? Central bank yan sila. So the central bank law would principally apply to them. Tapos if it is silent, then dito na po. Pero nakikita natin na ang pawn shop, kung titingnan mo, sinusunod nila ang provisions ng pledge. Okay, so I'll continue with the second part of this discussion on pledge and mortgages. So this time talks about real mortgage or real estate mortgage. From the word real estate, the subject matter here are immovable properties. So Article 2124 talks about the definition and characteristics of a mortgage. Okay, the following would be the subject or object of the contract of mortgage: immovables or alienable rights in accordance with laws. So yun po yun, may immovable ka, tapos may karapatan ka over immovable, pwede mo yan yang masangla. That is alienable real rights upon immovables. Nevertheless, movables may also be the object of a mortgage, but that is regarded as chattel mortgage. Chattel kasi personal. So like kotse, movable properties, pag sinangla mo yan, that is considered as chattel mortgage. So ganun din po, just like the pledge, mortgage or real estate mortgage or real mortgage, same lang yan sila. is a contract whereby the debtor secures to the creditor the fulfillment of a principal obligation, especially subjecting to such security immovable property or real rights over immovable property in case the principal obligation is not complied with at the same time. So again, ito po yung mag-answer. The immovable property or that you mortgage as security will answer in the event you are not able to pay your obligation. Characteristics, again, similar to pledge. Real, because it is perfected upon delivery of the object or subject matter of the contract. Accessory, because mortgage is based upon the existence of the principal contract, usually alone. Subsidiary, again, because dependent upon the principal contract. Unilateral, because the obligation is upon creditor to return the object of the mortgage upon full payment of the obligation. So these are characteristics, and alam na natin to. Pag sinabi natin accessory contract, there is a principal contract with which the real estate mortgage or real mortgage depends upon. So, subject matter, of course, immovable, pwede rin movable under chattel mortgage. Kinds of mortgage, voluntary, agreement by the parties, legal, it is required by law, equitable, it is a mortgage. However, the parties fail to comply with some formalities of the law, that's why it is regarded as equitable. So, voluntary, kompleto ang requirements, agreement by the parties. Legal, it is required by law. And equitable by the parties, voluntary. However, there are some formalities which were not complied with. Essential requisites of mortgage, okay, sabi po dito, the document must appear and recorded with the registry of property. The document which it appears to be recorded and the registry of. If the instrument is not recorded, it is binding upon the parties. So immediate parties. Ano ibig sabihin? Pag nangutang ka, nagsangla ka ng property mo, immovable, sinangla mo yung lupa mo, pero yung mortgage agreement, hindi mo niregister sa Register of Deeds, ano maging epekto nun? Valid pa yan siya between the parties. But it will not bind third persons. Third persons will be bound only if the mortgage contract is registered with the Registry of Deeds. Doctrine of mortgagee in good faith. Sabi po dito, good faith talaga. Kasi nga, ikaw ang nagsangla. Reliance in good faith on the certificate of title of mortgagor. So sabi dito, pag nagsangla ka, talagang may presumption po na sa'yo po yan. Absent any sign that might arouse suspicion, the mortgagee has no obligation to undertake further investigation. So pag nagsangla ka ng immovable property, kung clear naman sa title, walang suspicion to arise na talagang peke po yun, then it is not incumbent upon the mortgagee, yung sinanglaan, na titingnan pa yung mga records. However, even if the mortgagor is not the rightful owner thereof, or there's not a valid title, the mortgage property, the mortgagee in good faith is entitled to protection. Title in the name of the mortgagor, not of the rightful owner. Yan po yung pangalawang doctrine. The mortgagor is not the rightful owner of the property, but was able to secure a torrent's title over it in his name, and then mortgage that to another who relies or not appears to be on the title. So the concept of innocent purchaser for value applies. Duty of mortgagee to look beyond the certificate of title. Sabi nang natin kanina, the general rule, kung ikaw po yung sinanglaan, wala kang obligasyon na titingnan pa beyond the presentation of the certificate of title. The mortgagee would rely on the certificate of title presented by the mortgagor. Exception where the purchaser or mortgagee has knowledge of the defect in the title. So alam niya na peke yan siya, recto po yun, or duda siya na hindi po ito. And that's the time that he could demand or go beyond the certificate of title. Kaya nga sabi po dito, greater care and diligence would be required. Effect of mortgage. Okay, the mortgage directly and immediately subjects the property upon which it is imposed, whoever the possessor may be, until such time that the security is paid. Sabi ko nga kanina, mortgage follows the property and not the possessor. Sinusundan yan siya kasi ang mortgage, naka-attach po yan siya sa property. So pag hindi pa nabayaran ang principal obligation, ang mortgage naka-attach sa property, kahit sino may-ari, kahit sino ang magbinta. Napunta na sa'yo, pangatlong owner ka na, and that's the time na bayaran ng mortgage, then dapat bayaran ng mortgage. Otherwise, i-foreclose po yun. You cannot say na, sandali, hindi po ako nagsangla nito, but i-foreclose mo sa akin, because again, the effect of mortgage, it is attached to the property and not to the possessor. Kaya kasabi, whoever the possessor might be. Extent of mortgage. Sabi po dito, the mortgage extends to all natural accessions, improvements, lahat-lahat po yan pwede mag-mortgage. All objects permanently attached to the land or building, lahat po yan ma-mortgage. To exclude them, it is necessary that there is an express stipulation to the effect. Ibig sabihin, pag nagsangla ka ng lupa, lahat ng nandun sa lupa kasali. Except lang kung mayroong usapan na hindi kasali yung ganito, hindi kasali yung ganyan, ito lang yung kasali. Because under the law, again, the mortgage on an immovable property extends to all the accession, improvements, fruits, etc., etc., as mentioned in 21:27. Now, alienation or assignment of mortgage. The mortgage credit may be alienated or assigned to a third person in whole or in part. So, pwede po yun. So, sinangla mo sa akin yung property na yan, pwede ko yan ma-assign. Okay? Kahit hindi pa yan siya registered. Okay? The sale or assignment is valid even if it is not registered. The right of the creditor against transferee of mortgage property. The creditor may claim from a third person in possession of the mortgage property the payment of the part of the credit secured by the property in which the third person possesses and terms and with the formalities required by law. Kasi nga sabi natin, kung ang property napunta na sa third person, and then may bayaran pa yan because again, the principal obligation is not yet paid. Ang sabi sa 21:29, then, ang sabi po, the creditor has the right to run after the transferee of the mortgage property until such time that is paid. The fact that the mortgagor has transferred the mortgage property to a third person does not relieve him from his obligation to pay the debt. Lahat-lahat po yun. Unless mayroong novation. Kasi nga, kahit ilang lipat pa yan, the mortgage is attached to the property. I will leave to you the example. Nandito po yan sa gilid. No? So, kayo nang bahala niyan. Then we have stipulation forbidding the alienation of property. A stipulation forbidding the owner from alienating the immovable shall be void. Hindi po pwede yan because in mortgage, there is no transfer of property. For example, nanghiram po ako sa iyo ng pera. Ngayon, ni-require mo ako magsangla ng lupa. Sinangla ko sa iyo yung lupa. Ngayon, gusto mong sabihin na during the effectivity of the mortgage, dapat hindi ko ibenta yung lupa. Again, that stipulation is not valid. Sabi nga dito, stipulation na prohibiting me from selling that thing that is being mortgaged to you, that is void. Mayroon po akong karapatan, ibenta ko yan. Wala kang problema dun kasi nga sabi ng batas, kahit sino may-ari nun, the mortgage is attached to the property regardless of the possessor or the owner of the property. What else? So, now, rules governing mortgage, foreclosure. Ano tong foreclosure? Foreclosure pag hindi ka na makabayad, i-foreclose ang mortgage. Foreclosure is the remedy available to the mortgagee, ang pinagsanglaan, by which the mortgage property to the satisfaction of the obligation to secure which the mortgage was given through the sale of property at auction and applying the proceeds to the payment of the claim. So sa foreclosure, pag mayroong takdang panahon na dapat bayaran mo ang principal obligation mo at hindi mo na bayaran, hahatakin po yung sinangla mong property, immovable, ng sheriff, and then ibibinta po yan siya sa auction. Yan po ang sinasabi nating foreclosure. Dalawa po ang klase ng foreclosure, judicial at saka extrajudicial. Pag sinabi natin judicial, korte po yon. RTC, Regional Trial Court, kung saan makikita ang real property na sinangla. Extrajudicial, only if there is a clause in a contract giving the mortgagee the power upon default to foreclose the property. In my practice as lawyer, kadalasan pag nagsangla, nilalagyan namin ng ganitong authority. That in the event the mortgagor failed to pay the principal obligation on the stated date, he hereby authorizes the mortgagee to foreclose the mortgage extrajudicially. Kasi advice po namin yan at advantageous po yan siya kasi pag wala to, kailangan mo pang pumunta sa korte at ipa-foreclose. Pupunta ka pa sa RTC, mag-apply ka pa doon, magbayad ka pa, ang daming mga obligasyon at matagal pa. Whereas if there is a mortgage and in the mortgage, the mortgagor ang nagsangla gives authority to the mortgagee kung saan pag hindi na siya makabayad, default, then i-foreclose na mortgage extrajudicial. Yun po yun ang sa foreclosure. Now, redemption. Di ba na ano na po, na-foreclose na? Na-foreclose ng property. So, bininta na sa auction. Anong mangyari? May karapatan ka pa ba na tubusin? Redemption is tubos, no? Tubusin yung property, equity of redemption, right of redemption. Right of the mortgagor to redeem the mortgage property after his default in the performance of the conditions of the mortgage but before the sale of the mortgage property. So pwede mo pa yan ma-redeem bago yung bentahan. Okay? Kahit pa sabihin natin na na-default ka na. After his default, pero hindi pa nabinta sa auction, then pwede mo ma-redeem. That's the rule. In judicial foreclosure, mortgagor may exercise his equity of redemption before but not after the sale is confirmed by the court. Kasi sa judicial foreclosure, ang korte po, hinatak ng korte ang property, bininta sa auction, and then ikaw po yung nanalo. Pagkapanalo mo, ngayon, mayroong consolidation is certificate of title. No? So, nandun, nakalagay po ikaw po yung entitled to that, and i-confirm yan ng court. Pag hindi pa na-confirm ng court, kung ikaw yung mortgagor, you still have the equity of redemption. Right of redemption, the right to redeem the mortgage within the period after it was sold for the satisfaction of the mortgagor. So, anong pinagkakaiba? Sa right of redemption, usually may 1 year ka from the sale. Okay? Ibig sabihin nito is ganito. Nangiram po ako sa iyo ng pera. Sabi mo, attorney, kailangan ko ng collateral. Kailangan ko ng lupa. So, nagsangla po ako sa iyo ng lupa. Ngayon, hindi ko nabayaran on the due date ang principal obligation. Binigyan kita ng authority to extrajudicially foreclose the mortgage. Okay, fine. Hindi mo na kailangan pumunta sa korte. So, finorclose mo ngayon, tapos nag-auction. Pag-auction, of course, sino yung highest bidder? Siya ba ang nanalo? Pwede. Or, kung walang ibang bidder, ikaw mismo, sa'yo yan mapunta. Yun pong tinatawag natin na sale. Okay. So, ito na po. Ngayon, after sa sale na register, mayroon pa akong 1 year from the registration of the date of the sale to again redeem the property. So palagay na natin ngayon ang auction. Today is May 7. 7 ba tayo ngayon?
Yes.
May 7. Palagay na natin ang registration ng sale is May 10. So mayroon pa akong 1 year from May 10, 2025 to May 9, 2026 to redeem the property sa highest bidder. Kukunin ko yan, tutubusin ko yan sa kanya. Ito po, babayaran ko siya sa binili niya, auction sale, at saka sa mga expenses. Otherwise, pag hindi ko yan natubos after 1 year on extrajudicial foreclosure, then consolidated na po ang ownership ng highest bidder dun sa property na sinangla ko at wala na po akong karapatan, siya na po ang fully may-ari ng property. Okay. Yan po yung sa foreclosure and redemption. Anti-crisis. Ito po ang sabi po dito, by the contract of anti-crisis, the creditor acquires the right to receive the fruits of an immovable. Sa mortgage po, ang sinangla mo ang property mo, ang lupa. Dito naman, nangutang ka, ang sinangla mo, hindi ang lupa, ngunit ang harvest, ang fruits sa immovable mo. Pwede yan siya rentals or palagay natin typically, nangutang ka, mayroon kang property sa Lawag, and then doon mayroon kang plantation, or sa Negros mayroon kang mango plantation. So, sinangla mo sa akin yung fruits, yung harvest nun, lahat-lahat, palay, tubo, etc. That is considered anti-crisis. Hindi po yan siya real mortgage kasi ang real mortgage, doon po yan sa lupa. But if you're talking about the right of the creditor to receive the fruits of an immovable, it could be really natural fruits, it could be civil fruits. Sinangla mo sa akin, nanghiram ka sa akin ng pera, ngayon sinangla mo sa akin yung building mo, that is considered mortgage. Pero kung nang sinangla mo sa akin ang karapatan mong sumingil sa mga renta sa tenants lot, then that is anti-crisis. Again, same, accessory, kailangan po yan siya because again, there is a principal contract. Formal must be specified, it must be in writing. When you say formal contract, it talks about form. It must comply with the form required by law. That is formal, it must be in writing. Now, anong pinagkakaiba ng anti-crisis versus pledge? Sabi po natin, anti-crisis refers to real property, pledge personal property. Anti-crisis consensual by mere giving of consent. Kahit nandito tayong dalawa sa Manila, tapos ang lupa na sa Bulacan, and then nandun yung mga fruit, etc. The moment you give your consent, there is a contract of anti-crisis. Whereas in pledge, there must be a delivery of the subject matter of the pledge before the pledge is perfected. That makes it a real contract. Now, real mortgage or real estate delivery, delivered to the creditor. In anti-crisis, property is delivered to the creditor. Sa mortgage, sabi natin wala. Magsangla ka ng lupa, magsangla ka ng bahay, ano? Bangko ba ang pupunta sa bahay mo? O sinangla mo na to, bangko ng occupy manager, dito ka natitira. O hindi po yun. In mortgage, you still, the owner retains possession of the property. Sabi natin, ang binigay mo lang ang titulo ng lupa. Sa anti-crisis po, i-delivered mo talaga yung property. How could he receive the fruits if the property is not delivered to him? Anti-crisis, the creditor acquires to receive the right to receive the fruits. Sa mortgage po, the creditor wala siyang karapatan sa fruits. Payment of taxes, anti-crisis, the creditor is obliged to pay the taxes. In mortgage, the creditor has no obligation. Kasi dito, ang ownership nasa mortgagor. Pero dito, kahit ang ownership nasa mortgagor, pero mayroon siyang right sa fruits na kinabang po yan siya. Okay, that is, or those are the differences. Measured of application of fruits to interest and principal. The actual market value of the fruits, yun po ang basis natin sa anti-crisis. Actual market value. Anti-crisis does not cover immovable but only its fruits. Fruits must be appraised at their actual market value at the time of the application. Pag sinabi natin actual market value, it is not the contract amount or contract price, but what is prevailing in that particular area, market value. Form of contract, sabi natin, anti-crisis is void if the principal obligation may still be valid. So, the amount of principal and the interest shall be in writing. Even if the anti-crisis is void, the principal is valid. Because again, accessory follows the principal. If the principal is void, then the accessory is void. But if the principal is valid, the accessory is void, it does not affect the principal. 2135, obligation of the anticritic creditor. Sabi po natin, siya po magbayad ng taxes, siya po mag-bear ng expenses necessary for the preservation and repair, kasi nga siya po yung nakikinabang sa fruits. Okay, yan po kanyang obligation. The debtor cannot reacquire the enjoyment of the immovable without first totally paid what he owes to the debt. So dapat ganun po yan. Ang anticritic debtor, ang sinanglaan mo ng fruits, lahat-lahat po dun, siya po yung may authority and may karapatan to receive fruits until such time na pabayaran mo yung utang mo. The remedy in case of non-payment of debt, the creditor does not acquire the ownership of the real estate for non-payment of debt with the period given. Wala po yan. If the debt is not paid, the creditor does not acquire ownership of the immovable. Unlike po dun sa sa mortgage na pwede ibenta, dito wala. May utang ka, dahil ba hindi kita binayaran, ikaw na may-ari ng property ko? Hindi po. Bakit? Ang sinangla ko sa iyo, ang enjoyment lang ng fruit, hindi mismo ang property. So anong options mo ngayon? Since hindi mo yan hindi mapapunta, the property cannot go to the anticritic creditor if the person who is obligated to pay failed to do so. Kasi nga, ang sinangla is not the property but only the fruit. So, ang remedy mo ngayon, mag-file ka ng specific performance or petition for the sale of the real property, and pagkatapos doon, extrajudicial foreclosure. What else? What else? Interest subject to usury law, wala na po ngayon yan siya. It's not applicable. Wala na po tayong usury law ngayon. And chattel mortgage, last topic. Ayan. So, chattel mortgage, of course, mortgage pa din to be. Kaya lang chattel. Chattel po ito kasi yung sinangla dito is personal property. Okay? Personal property. Sama sa kotse, okay, TV, cellphone, sapatos, grabe, no? Sanglakan sapatos. Malay mo, ma-Jordan yan ng mga limited, di ba? So we have here chattel mortgage, personal property. The requirement there, by a chattel mortgage, personal property is recorded in the chattel mortgage register as a security for the performance of an obligation. If the immovable is not recorded, is delivered to the creditor, then the contract is pledged and not a chattel mortgage. Take note of this last sentence. If the movable, instead of being recorded sa chattel, hindi po, but binigay sa creditor o third person, the contract is pledged and not a chattel mortgage. Kasi sabi natin, ang chattel mortgage, kahit similar yan sila sa pledge that involves personal property, sabi po dito, in a chattel mortgage, it must be registered with the chattel mortgage register. So same, accessory, formal, and unilateral. Alam natin, accessory, there is a principal contract, there's a principal obligation. formal because it is required to be registered. Sabi nga natin, indispensable yan. Otherwise, hindi yan siya maging valid na chattel mortgage pag hindi na registered, but instead, it would be pledge. Unilateral because only the obligation, the part of the creditor. Now, difference between a chattel mortgage and a pledge. Una, sa differences, chattel mortgage, personal property, delivery, okay? Chattel mortgage, delivery is not necessary. Sa pledge, alam natin, delivery is necessary. Chattel mortgage, kailangan i-register. Sa pledge, hindi na kailangan i-register. Entitlement to the excess of price sa chattel mortgage, if foreclosed, the excess over the amount goes to the debtor. Sa pledge, if sold, the debtor is not entitled unless there is an agreement. So take note, especially number 3. Dito, excess of the price. Pagkatapos ibenta ng subject matter of the pledge or chattel mortgage. Dito, sa chattel mortgage, entitled po ang debtor. Dito, hindi na po unless there is an agreement. Recovery of the deficiency, chattel mortgage. Sabi po dito, if the property is foreclosed and there is deficiency, the creditor may recover. Okay? Pero sa pledge, kahit pa may agreement, hindi siya makarecover. Now, similarities nila, security, same. There is a principal obligation, personal property, indivisible, late ownership. Okay? You cannot appropriate that one. Pactum commissorium. Take note of the word, pactum commissorium. Sale of the property in case of default, then it could be sold by the pledgee or by the mortgagee. Extinguished when the subject is destroyed, of course, because the very reason why the mortgage and the pledge exists because of the subject matter. If it is destroyed, no more. Laws governing chattel mortgages. So what else? Offenses. So and talks about chattel mortgage. Nothing more on this slide. Creation of the chattel mortgage. Ito importante po ito, the affidavit of good faith. Because sa real estate mortgage o sa real mortgage, wala pong affidavit of good faith. Affidavit of good faith, this is only required in chattel mortgage. Okay? Sabi po dito kasi good faith. Severally swear that the mortgage is made for the purpose of securing obligation. Kasi minsan kasi, mayroon kang sasakyan, ayaw mong mag-ibenta, pero may mga kautangan ka. So, ang ginagawa, the most easy or the easiest way is to pretend that that property is being mortgaged. So, nakasangla po yun. Sasakyan yan. So, hindi yan. Chattel mortgage yun. Kasi movable. So, ngayon, kahit hindi totoo, in order to defraud creditor. That's why the law requires that mayroong affidavit of good faith. Kasi sa affidavit of good faith, doon nag-swear ka that the mortgage is really constituted to secure obligation and not to perpetuate or for the purpose of fraud. Otherwise, kung nagsinungaling ka dyan, then kakasuhan ka ng perjury. Foreclosure of chattel mortgage, same din po yan siya, ma-foreclose po yan siya. And then, the creditor may maintain an action na discuss natin kanina, recover deficiency. What else? If chattel mortgage is constituted, personal property, no deficiency judgment can be asked and any agreement shall be void. Right of redemption, meaning to say, magtubos. Redemption, tapos na to, redemption is lukat, sa Bisaya, lukat, tubos sa Tagalog. So, ibig sabihin, tutubusin mo. Redemption is made by paying or delivering to the mortgagee the amount due on such mortgage and costs incurred. Alam po yan. So, who may redeem? The mortgagor, the person holding the subsequent mortgage, and the attaching creditor. So, that ends my discussion on mortgage, pledge, chattel mortgage, and anti-crisis.